that next morning I was sitting on the stairs and I was waiting for my grandmother, God bless her soul, and she was coming to bring me to the bus station, and I was sitting on the stairs, and the front door was open, but the screen door was closed, and my father was inside, and he was like, "Oh, he ain't nothing but a crackhead. He'll be back in 2 weeks," and I remember that, and I got on that bus. I had $5, I had a brown paper bag. Um, I remember my grandmother watching the bus, making sure I don't jump off down the block and stuff like that. I made it up to Albany. I came, like I said, Project Lift accepted me into their program. I was 23 years old at the time, and I was coming straight from the crack house, and I was going to the halfway house. Um, it was a difficult transition. I never knew anything about recovery meetings or any of that stuff. I never had any children at that point. Never had to be responsible for anything or anyone, not even myself. So went to Project Lift. It was a beautiful experience. One of the best experiences that I participated in my life. It helped me, it changed me, helped me grow, taught me like most of the things that I know today and that I live by. Most of the principles that I live by, I learned, at that place. Started to go to treatment, started to go to meetings. Fortunately, like a lot of people who I met at that point are still clean today. So it showed me that I made a good decision. I feel like I made a good decision. My time in treatment, it wasn't all peaches and cream. I was a person that, I still lived by crackhead rules, crackhead principles. I still, was rowdy. I still was fighting. I still was stealing. I still was hanging out with people that was hustling. Until one day I was driving around. I might have had like a year clean or a year and a half clean, and I was driving down low in my car so the people in recovery couldn't see me because I was hanging out with a drug dealer, and me and him was going to pick up money from crack houses. And then once again, the grace of God just was like, nah, this is not a good idea, and I stopped it. And that was one of my boys from the peanut butter and jelly days. And I that grace just came upon me, and I said I can't do this no more. And like once again, like a month or two later, he wound up getting 15 years in prison, for doing what he was doing. Once again, I was saved by the grace. Most of the people that I grew up with from the peanut butter and jelly days, all of us that did the same things. My best friend from the peanut butter and jelly days, he got killed when we were like 18. My other dude that we played high school ball with, he wound up getting like 17 years in prison and getting deported to his country. So the grace has been covering me because for the first few years of my recovery, I did everything except for not use. That's the only thing that I didn't do. I didn't use, but all the other things I did, and eventually I got blessed with the grace, and I started buying into what the people in recovery were talking about.
What was the hardest part of initially getting sober, getting on that bus, or at that point did you had it?
Yeah, it was. I feel that's grace too, because for where I came from, because although like my story has drugs and stuff like that, like ball was my love. That was my love. I traveled over the country, as a young age, played in Madison Square Garden, played in the America West Stadium out in Arizona. Traveled the country to play ball. So that was like, I always had that type of love for that, and then to see myself in the garbage can getting cans out, and when I first started getting the cans out, I wouldn't go next door to my house. I would go like blocks away. You know what I mean? 4 or 5 blocks probably in March. But when by the time October came, next door was the first place that I went. I didn't care if my neighbors saw me. I didn't care about none of that. So I got kind of blessed to go to such a low that when I got up here, I couldn't really be in denial that I had a drug problem. I could be in denial about other things like should I hang with my people from the peanut butter and jelly days? Should I be stealing? You know, should I do those things? But the thing about not using it wasn't up for debate. It was already kitchen tested. It wasn't nothing that I could really be in denial about that. I weighed 103 pounds. I had a pair of spandex shorts on. You know, spandex was supposed to fit, but they didn't fit, so I had a shoestring for a belt. That was like my outfit. You know what I mean? I had a pair of sneakers that had holes in the bottom all over, and the sneakers that I wore up here, they had holes in the bottom. And I had to put plastic in them and newspaper, and those were my winter sneakers, my summer sneakers, I had stopped playing ball at that point. Maybe when I go to jail, do my little 90 days, I'll be playing ball like real heavy. But when I hit the streets, I wouldn't be playing any ball, you know. So it was like the using part was like the easiest part to give up. It was just like the lifestyle, because I always wanted to go back to the Bronx and hang out with my people and stuff like that, and I didn't do that, but the devil was always at work. So since I didn't do that, he brought people up to Albany, and I just be walking down the street like minding my business, and I see one of my boys from the peanut butter and jelly days. He's like, "Yo, what you doing?" And I'm doing good. I'm in recovery. I got an apartment. You know, I'm doing my thing. You know, and I just couldn't live the lifestyle. So I would let dudes stay in my house or whatever. You know, shack up. You know, and I know they doing dirt, but I'm not doing dirt, but they are. And I wind up getting affiliated, and like I said, that I got grace, and I stopped it. Haven't done that yet. Participated back in that. That's a not yet for me.
How's your life changed since you've become in recovery, and what would you say to somebody that's still suffering